Hi again. This is the lesson 4 in unit 7, and today we are going to talk about another kind of families. You remember when we talked about the family? Human family consists of grandpa, grandma, brother, sister, and nephew and niece. You remember? Did you study this? Today we are going to talk about the families of animals, okay, or the family of animals, how they compose their animals, their families, how they can adapt with their environments. I think this is related somehow to something you have in the previous term. It's easy and it's full of information and it's interesting too. Okay, in this animal family, you can see the baby lion, the baby kangaroo, the baby giraffe, the baby zebra, the baby elephant. We have a lot of baby animals which are cute, and they tell you that animals have families too. In the next slide, you will see and you will know about animals in your book. This is page 14 and 15 in front of you on this slide. If you don't have the book in front of you now, you can look on the screen. These read and listen to the definitions. Definition means the word and its meaning. So if you want to define a word, so you say the definition of this word means the meaning of this word. So the first one, to adapt. What is the meaning of adapt? Adapt means to change yourself, or to change your facial features or your body to suit your environment, or to cope with your environment. Okay, adapt is to cope with your environment or to change to suit your environment, and we are going to have examples on that. Trait. What is a trait? It's a key characteristic that an organism has. Of course, I'm going to explain this more and more in the next slides, don't worry. So, trait, a key characteristic that an organism has. Example, camouflaged fur or a long beak. Okay. 3, to inherit. To get characteristics from your parents. For example, you have the hair of your mommy, like the hair of your mom, smooth or curly. This is inheriting something from your parents. Litter is a number of baby animals born from the same parents at the same time. So litter, it looks like twins but large number. Okay, they are born at the same time. Newborn is a baby animal that has just been born. Newborn is just has been born. Okay. Number 6, here in the next page, you can see offspring. Offspring, a person or a person's child or animal's plant's baby. So the offspring is the baby of the human or the animal or the plant. Okay, even plants have offspring. Organism, a living thing, all animals and plants. So all things around us are living organisms? No, we have living organisms and non-living organisms. Of course, we are talking in this unit about the living organisms because they are the only ones can make families or can form a family. Okay, species. Look at this word. What is the species? This is a group of animals or plants that are very similar and share the same characteristics. Okay, so it's a group of animals or plants that are very similar and they share the same characteristics. Okay, survival. What is a survival? Is to stay alive, of course. Staying alive in the natural world. Stay alive in the natural world. This can be hard for many plants and animals. It's very hard to survive in the natural world. Characteristics. What is this word? It's a very long word and it's easy to, and I told you how to read the long words. To read it is to divide it into syllables. Characteristics. Okay. Special traits from that make an organism special or different from others. So the characteristics, these are special traits that make an organism special or different from others. Okay, So everyone should have his own characteristic features. If you look to the pictures here, you can see rabbits, right? Here are and the letters, letter and parent. Okay, look at these letters of the newborn rabbits. They look very different from their parents, but soon their eyes will open and their fur will grow. Look at this letter of newborn rabbits. They look very different from their parents, but soon their eyes will open and their fur will grow. As they get older, the rabbits in a letter will look similar to each other, but not identical. So they will look like each other, but not identical. The offspring have inherited some traits from their mother and some traits from their father. They may have the same fur color as their mother or their father, or a mix of the two. Okay? Soon their ears will start to grow. The ears are very important for the rabbits. We will know why. So soon their ears will grow. 2. Having long ears is a key characteristic of the rabbit. This is the meaning of a key characteristic. Key characteristic is something special for this animal, and it is not existed in any animal else. Okay, so a long ear or a very long ear is a key characteristic for the rabbit. Why do rabbits have long ears? Rabbits have lots of predators. Rabbits have lots of predators. Predators means that animal which eats the rabbit. The predator, that animal which eats or devours the rabbit or the small animals. Okay. Bigger animals that hunt and eat them, those are the predators. The long ears help rabbits to hear well. Their ears can move, so the rabbit knows where a sound is coming from. The long ears also help the rabbit to stay cool in the hot weather or keep warm in the cold weather. This is very interesting. So long ears are very important for rabbit survival. Long ears, very important for rabbit survival. Over time, by the passing of the time, rabbits with longer ears become safer and healthier too. Okay, they could live for longer and have more litters. They passed that trait to their offspring, and rabbits adapted to have long ears. Rabbits adapted to have long ears. All organisms have to adapt to their environment. All organisms they must to adapt to their organisms, okay, to their environment, sorry. All species of animals and plants have their own characteristics and behave in ways that help them to survive. So this is the sum up of all of that all organisms have to adapt with their environment. All species of animals and plants have a key characteristic feature that help it to survive or to adapt with their environment. In the next slide, you will see some animal traits. Here is a picture in front of you. You can see some animal traits. The trait is a characteristic key or a key characteristic of one animal. If you see these features or these parts of the animal bodies, you can recognize which is which animal. Okay, which is which means that you can recognize the foot of the camel, you can recognize the teeth of the lion, you can recognize the thorn of the hedgehog, you can recognize the foot of the zebra, right? So this is a characteristic for each animal. In the next slide, we will see more pictures. Here is a cat with its newborn babies. Letter, which is explaining what is a letter. Letter is a number of baby animals. Is a number of baby animals. They born from the same parents at the same time, as we said before when we were talking about the rabbits. Okay? Here's offspring. What is the offspring? In the next slide, you will see the son or daughter of a person, the baby cats of a cat, this is offspring, and the baby plant, also the plants have offspring. In the next slide, you will see the meaning of a species. What does it mean in species? As I told you, it's a group of animals having the same characteristics and having the same or similar way of life, like the species of dogs, the species of cactus plant, the species of birds. Okay. In the next slide, you will see the different environmental places, and this you studied in the previous term, which was the desert, and each place or habitat. You remember the habitat, the different ones. We have desert, we have grassland, we have polar, we have wetland, and those are all on Earth. So in every place there are some animals living there, and they adapt to the circumstances of this environment. Okay. In the next slide, you will see the meaning of adaptation. What is an adaptation? The adaptation is the process which enables organisms to adjust or to adjust their environment in order to ensure survival. To live over there, to live in a polar part of Earth, to live in the desert, you should have some characteristic to strengthen you to live over there. Of course, as an animal. Okay, in the next slide, you will see also the animal adaptation. For example, the camel. The camel has a very broad feet and very soft from down. It's not hard like the horse's one. Why? Because if the camel has a very hard foot or a part of foot, it will go down into the sand. But if it has a broad and smooth one full of fat, it will go over the sand and can walk in the desert. Okay, this is one example of all the adaptation of the animals' bodies. In the next slide, here is a chameleon. A chameleon. This chameleon can change its color to be just like the surrounding environment to hide from enemies. So this is another kind of adaptation, which is camouflage. Camouflage means that it changes its color to be just like the surrounding. Okay, for example, this chameleon is amazing one. It can be just like the color it stands on. Like if it stands on this laptop, it will be black. If it stands on a green thing, it will be green. If it stands on a red thing, it will be red. Just like you see in front of you, it's an amazing animal. This is a chameleon. In the next picture, you will see, in the next slide, you will see the bird or the penguin. A penguin is a bird, but it's not flying. It doesn't fly. It swims for a very long distance to catch fish. And in the next slide, you will see the polar bear. This animal has developed a layer of fat to keep it warm in cold climate. Of course, the polar bear is a very famous animal living in the polar area of land, and it has a very thick layer of fat on surrounding all over his body, so it can keep it warm in this cold weather. In the next slide, you will see a bird has a very large beak, very large and long beak, so it can eat lots of different seeds and also can catch fish with it. This bird, it can catch fish with its beak. Okay. In the next slide, you will see an amazing animal too. It has adapted to look like a leaf, so other animals don't eat it. So they can make themselves or change their shape to look like their environment, to keep their enemies away from them, and to live, to be able to survive. Okay, like this leaf animal, it looks exactly like a leaf. You cannot recognize it if it is in front of you. Okay, in the next slide you will see another one. No, this is the end of our lesson. Thank you and bye bye.